Weakness is not the absence of strength, it's the presence of self-betrayal. The modern world manufactures weakness. School trains you to obey. Culture trains you to conform. Media feeds you helplessness disguised as awareness. Even your closest relationships can reward your smallness. They praise your restraint because it makes you predictable. They call you selfless because it keeps you dependent. Nietzsche's antidote: stop needing to be liked. Stop asking to exist. Truth number one: weakness is not what you think. You've been lied to about weakness your whole life. They told you weakness is crying too much, that it's lacking discipline, that it's being too emotional. They were wrong. Weakness is an emotional expression. Weakness is emotional submission. It's needing permission to take action. It's outsourcing your value to people who don't even value themselves. It's lying about what you want just to avoid judgment. It's calling your fear caution and your laziness self-care. Weakness is not the absence of strength. It's the presence of self-betrayal. And here's the brutal truth. The modern world is designed to make you weak. Your education trained you to obey. Your culture trained you to conform. Your media feeds you helplessness disguised as awareness. Even the people who claim to love you, many of them benefit from your softness. They praise your selflessness, reward your restraint, and applaud your passivity. Not because it's good for you, but because it keeps you small, predictable, and dependent. Nietzsche hated this. He saw weakness not as a flaw, but as a choice. And his antidote was dangerous: become someone who doesn't need approval, doesn't fear rejection, and doesn't confuse safety with living. So here's your first task. Strip away the need to be liked. Stop editing yourself for approval. Imagine you woke up tomorrow and no one required you to be polite, agreeable, or humble. Who would you be? If you can't answer that, it's because you've built your entire identity on reactions, not creation. You don't have a self, you have a mask. And Nietzsche would tell you, burn it. Truth number two: comfort is the enemy of purpose. Let's be clear. Comfort is not peace. Comfort is anesthesia. You think you're resting, you're decaying. You think you're taking it easy. You're letting life pass without ever gripping it by the throat. Nietzsche's warning was simple. Live dangerously. He didn't mean reckless chaos. He meant put yourself in situations where your character is tested, sharpened, forced to grow. Because a man who never leaves the warm bath of his routines never discovers the steel in his spine. Comfort is seductive because it asks for nothing. No risk, no fight, no uncertainty. But here's the cost. When you remove all friction from your life, you also remove the possibility of greatness. Look at your days. Be honest. How many of your coping habits are actually cages? Streaming another episode because you're too tired to think. Scrolling just to avoid the discomfort of silence. Filling your calendar with shallow obligations so you don't have to confront the emptiness in your deeper work. Every comfortable choice makes you weaker. Not because comfort is evil, but because it erodes the part of you built to push, to create, to conquer. Imagine a sword that never touches an opponent. It doesn't stay sharp. It rusts. You're the same. And here's the lie. They'll tell you it's okay to take it easy, but they're not telling you the truth. They're telling you what keeps you harmless. The world does not reward the man who chooses easy. It forgets him. So I'll ask you this. When was the last time you did something that scared you? Not for the thrill, but because you had to see who you'd become on the other side. If you can't remember, then you've been living in maintenance mode, polishing the walls of a prison cell you've mistaken for a sanctuary. Step into the storm, That's where you find your purpose. Because purpose isn't discovered in comfort, it's forged in resistance. Truth number 3, you are not your wounds. Modern culture has made a religion out of victimhood. Nietzsche would have called it a sickness. We've been taught to wear our pain like a badge, to build entire identities out of the worst things that have happened to us. And here's the problem. When you build your identity on suffering, you become loyal to it. You stop healing because healing would take away the one thing you think makes you special. But Nietzsche didn't romanticize pain, he weaponized it. What does not kill me makes me stronger wasn't a cute quote for Instagram. It was a declaration of war. Pain is raw material. You can use it to build armor or to bind yourself in chains. The truth? No one truly cares what happened to you. They care what you became despite it. If all you became was bitter, fragile, and paralyzed, then your pain has defeated you. Your trauma is not a crown, it is a forge. Step into it, let it melt you down, and shape yourself into something impenetrable. Say it with me. I am not my anxiety, I own stillness. I am not my failures, I own resilience. I am not my scars, I own my story. When you stop performing your pain for sympathy, you start transmuting it into strength. And that's the only version of your story that's worth telling. You've got 2 choices. Keep being the main character in a tragedy, or become the man who walked out of the fire and built an empire with the ashes. Truth number 4, solitude over submission. Most people would rather betray themselves than be alone. It starts early. School teaches you to raise your hand for permission. Friends teach you to stay inside the tribe. Relationships teach you to keep your edges soft so no one feels threatened. Little by little, you become addicted to acceptance, not love. Acceptance, that dull, lifeless version of belonging that demands you shrink, silence, and shapeshift just to stay included. But Nietzsche's command is brutal. You must be willing to stand alone, utterly and completely, if you are ever to know yourself. Belonging always has a price, and most men pay with their authenticity, their individuality, and their strength. So here's the upgrade. You stop begging for a seat at someone else's table. You build your own. And if no one joins you, good. More space, more clarity, more power. Solitude is where your edges grow back, where you stop performing and start listening to your own instincts without interference. The tribe will call you arrogant. They'll call you difficult. Wear it like armor, because those are the words they use for men they cannot control. Better to be feared for your truth than loved for your absence. Truth number 5, evolve or die. Nietzsche said, the snake which cannot cast its skin must die. This is the final truth. Stagnation is death. Most men don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they refuse to evolve. They cling to identities, habits, and relationships that no longer serve them because they're afraid of who they might lose if they grow. That's not loyalty. That's fear in disguise. Every time you say, I don't know, when you do, you reinforce weakness. Every time you say maybe, when you mean no, you fracture your integrity. Every time you apologize for existing, you cut away at your own spine. Language is power. Posture is power. Decision is power. And every small act of self-abandonment is a vote for decay. So shed the skin, not gently, rip it off. Let the version of you that was built for permission die, so the one built for sovereignty can live. Conclusion, the return. You didn't need these 5 truths to become strong. You were always strong. You just buried it under layers of obedience, comfort, and fear. Now you've unearthed it, and here's the thing. You can't unhear this. You can't go back to pretending you don't know why you feel restless, small, or invisible. From here on out, every decision you make will either honor the man Nietzsche would respect, grounded, clear, dangerous, or betray him. So choose. Choose purpose over comfort, strength over weakness, solitude over submission, growth over stagnation. This is your standard now. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does.